Whoa! Hey dudes, this is Dan Mitre, Community Manager for Visceral Games, here to talk about our latest patch to Battlefield Hardline. This patch coincides with the release of the Criminal Activity DLC, which is far out, man. It contains 4 brand new maps, including 2 night maps for people that would rather play during the time of day in which they're usually awake. It also contains a new game mode, Bounty Hunter, which isn't really a new game mode, it's just kill confirmed from Call of Duty, since our new demographic is already used to that game mode. We also put in some new guns, gadgets, and vehicles, thus bringing the amount of content up to roughly 1/3 of what Battlefield 4 had on launch. But hey, at least it's a lot less buggy than Battlefield 4 was, right? How long could I use that excuse for anyways? On to the fixes here. We made some generic netcode improvements. Let's just call it projectile tick improvements, man, because that sounds totally rad. And it makes it seem like we actually did something. And no, not the kind of ticks that gets your OCD going. We also did some stability improvements, unlike my favorite band Blink-182, who could never seem to stay together. That's a trip. We fixed an issue on PC where servers could run map and mode combinations that are not part of the experience, man. We obviously know what's best for our players with only 32 players for heist on huge-ass maps, yet we could pack 64 players into tiny TDM maps. Speaking of TDM, we had to adjust the spawning system again, because the amount of players on the server aren't the problem like I just said, it's that our algorithm needed some fixing. We altered the health on hardcore mode to make it 60 like every other Battlefield game that came out before this one, instead of 80. It seems our testers weren't the type of players that would listen to Sounds of the Jungle with Warpaint on while playing Battlefield. We replaced the tanker on Riptide for the Hotwire game mode with a sedan because nobody ever goes near a tanker. It's basically an Ebola patient. Speaking of Ebola, viral patches are now viral. That means that patches which could only be earned by taking them from someone are now actually serving their purpose instead of being as useful as a condom with a hole in it. Patches, especially those of bands, are totally fucking awesome, dude. And on PC, we fixed an issue where a player could hear muffled audio until their next death, but it's still there after being revved like a car engine on Xbox One. We also did some weapon tuning, including giving the Kar 5.56, ACR, M16A3, M416, and MPX more kick than a shot of 151 in my morning coffee. The MPX, along with the K10, also got a range reduction, so now you'll need to be able to spit on a person in order to damage them. The M/45 and Uzi now aren't as bad as LeBron's teammates. Sorry, Cleveland. You'll have to wait even longer for your championship. And we also buffed the Stakeout Spaz 12 and the only snipers that actually take skill, the AWM and the R700. The M1911 got a close range damage buff because that gun totally wasn't the best pistol in the game before this patch. Oh, and we pulled an Oprah on all the carbines. You get an end range buff, you get an end range buff, and look under your seat, bro, you also get an end range buff. And lastly, we made like Call of Duty and added some new tunes like Jeep stuff from Hank and Jed, which totally fits our game where there are no Jeeps to put the stuff onto. But that song is banging though.
Riding around town with my Jeep stuff, making my rounds with my Jeep stuff.
I just can't wait to sell Trax's micro DLC. Shit, I wasn't supposed to say that. Speaking of DLC though, Criminal Activity is available now with this patch, so I hope to see you guys out on the battlefield. Wait, what? There's a problem with the PC rollout of the DLC and it's delayed indefinitely? Well, fuck, there's already 10 times less people on PC playing this game versus Battlefield 4, and this certainly won't help lure some of them back. But we did just launch the CTE program, which is available to all 10 people that have premium on PC, so at least they could do some of our testing for us while they wait for the DLC. Wait, what? The forum post where we announced it is littered with people claiming that they're rejected because the CTE program is full? But the servers are as empty as Good Charlotte's lyrical content. So he fucked up rolling that shit out too? Fuck, man, how are we supposed to explain to our bosses what we're doing to combat the fact that there's more than twice as many players on Battlefield 4 than on our game?